The germinal stage is the first stage which begins at conception. When the sperm fertilizes the egg, it forms a one-cell structure called a zygote. As the mother and father's DNA is fused during this process, the sex and genetic makeup of the baby is decided. The zygote then further divides and multiplies from one cell to 2, then 4, then 8, and so on, becoming parts of a body like organs and limbs. This is called mitosis. Soon, there are billions of cells and the zygote travels down to the fallopian tube where the blastocyst develops and gets ready to implant itself into the uterus. This entire process occurs between 0 to 2 weeks during a fragile time where many zygotes do not survive.
After the blastocyst implants in the uterus around the end of the first week after fertilization, its internal cell mass, which is called the embryoplast, is now known as the embryo. The embryonic stage is short, lasting only about 7 weeks in total. But developments that occurs during this stage brings about enormous changes in the embryo. During the embryonic stage, the embryo becomes bigger and more complex. Growth occurs in two major directions, from the head to tail called the cephalocaudal development, and from the middle line outward called the proximodistal development. The heart is the first functional organ to develop, then subsequently the major structure of the body, making the embryonic stage the most vulnerable for the embryo. This stage lasts through the 8th week following fertilization, after which the embryo is called a fetus.
Around the 3rd trimester, also known as the fetal stage, from the last period, the nervous system begins to respond more like that of a newborn baby. This stage of prenatal development is when the brain undergoes the most significant changes. It begins in the 9th week and continues until the baby is born. Astonishing transformation and growth characterize this stage. Week 9 to 15, the fetus's reproductive organ develops rapidly. Other developments at this stage include facial development, thyroid gland starts to mature, kidneys start functioning, and the fetus at this stage is very active. In week 16 to 26, the brain and sensory nerves develop to the point that the fetus has a sense of touch. Eyes and ears continue to develop. Bones have already been developing. Alveoli form in the lungs. Considerable muscle movement, and the fetus at this stage develops a thick waxy coating which is called the vernix.
The sex organs begin to distinguish during the 3rd month of pregnancy, although the majority of physical growth occurs in the later weeks of pregnancy. The fetus continues to increase in weight and length. There is further development and preparation for life outside the womb during the 7th month leading up to birth. The muscles prepare for breathing by expanding and contracting the lungs. The fetus will mimic breathing by moving the diaphragm, and its eyes now detect light. The fetus sleeps a lot more at this stage, but its brain is continuously active. In weeks 27 to 38, the fetus develops rapidly in its final weeks and body fat increases substantially. The bones of the fetus are completed in their development at this stage. By the end of week 38, the fetus is 20 inches long and all external and internal organs have been formed to completion.